Oh yeah, this thing could be mentioned with.
What's that?
This is my MP3 player.
Oh, you can talk about your music, how you listen to music.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. All right,
I first want to get a drink though.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't mind.
No, it's okay. We're gonna switch framing up too. Oh, and do a. Go ahead.
And I drink fast too, by the way.
You always drink like that?
Yep. My fastest on record is about 9 seconds for a can this size. This is how I crush cans. That's how long it takes for me to get a drink.
Alright, so, are you ready? So, how do you usually, what are your music listening habits? What do you,
I listen to music from video games. However, unlike most, I listen to the same song several times in a row. Well, that. I want a different introduction.
Okay, so if you want to give that another go, looking directly into the camera, the first thing you did?
Well, get your adjustments all going.
I'm going to punch in a little bit for that.
What does that mean, punch in?
It just means
Zoom in a little bit.
Tighten.
Oh.
So, yeah. Looks like you're a bit closer. And go for it.
Go ahead.
Oh. I listen to music from video games. My primary source, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, take 3. My primary source of music is from video games I play. However, unlike most, well, I'll give you an idea. Pop your favorite music CD into your CD player and put it in track repeat mode. See how many times you can listen to it in a row. Okay, maybe you manage 3 plays, 4, 5, maybe if you're lucky even 10. Well, one look at my record and you're barely even a step across the starting line. And what is my record? You're probably not going to believe it. 132,500 total plays. Seriously. That's with a 750 play margin of error though, however. But, so what do I normally do? Well, it's not unusual for me to go 1,000 loops in a row. Sometimes in more extreme cases, even 5,000 loops isn't all that unusual. And so, what about same overall duration, considering that record with 132,000 is actually for a 4-second loop, which is really pathetically short. So, what is my record for overall total duration? Well, even this blows everything out of the proportion. 52.25 days. 1/7 of a year. That is just outrageously high. But that does include speed changes, though. Speed changes? Okay, well, I also listen to video game music at different speeds. So what about the record without speed changes? Same song, same speed? Even that record is outrageous. 17 days. Oh yes, big numbers, I'll tell you.
Your MP3 player is entirely video game songs?
Pretty much. There are some odd exceptions from TV shows, but that's pretty much about it then.
How do you get your music by ripping it straight from the carts, or?
No, I have no way of doing that. Plus, as far as I know, it's also illegal. What I usually do is, well, on my computer here, if I can, I'd have to disconnect it. Follow the cord while I'm at it. This thing. This is a TV tuner. I just hook on my system to it like any other normal TV is, and I just get my sound program going and I start recording from there. And basically, I just crop it out, make the loopable version, and include the intro in there as well, and that's pretty much all I do.
So you're recording your music straight from the carts?
It's not directly, but no. It's not directly from the carts, but this is as close as I can get as a TV tuner. I have no way to read data from the carts outside the Genesis itself.
Oh, I see. So you run the audio of the carts through your computer, and then you
Through
record
the
it on
TV
your-
tuner. There's a little bit of fuzz in there, but very little. Sometimes there's a lot of fuzz, and I do have to use noise cancellation for that, but that does come in every now and then.
And you just leave the game. You just leave the game running to do that.
Yeah, and sometimes I have to get into certain positions and such to do that as well. And in extremely rare cases, like I have to do with Jumping Flash 1 and case in Jumping Flash 2, I have to use a Game Shark. But I don't have a Game Shark for the PlayStation 1 anymore. I don't know what happened to it.
And how often do you find new songs you like?
It's very rare. There's a few songs from other games that I would still like to get, but I just don't seem to have the motive for doing it. It's usually pretty low.
So you find yourself just, and when you're working around in your room, you just have one track playing on loop?
Pretty much all the way through. I do occasionally change the speed on occasion by changing the sample rate, but that's about it.
So can you elaborate on that? Can you explain the process of getting bored of a song and changing the speed of it and how that affects how you listen to it?
Well, bored of a speed, but there's a difference between bored of a speed and bored of a song, but still. If I get bored of a speed, what I usually do is I stop the music on my computer. If I'm listening to it on my computer, then I stop the player from doing it. I open up my hex-editor, and I go to where bytes 0x18 to 0x1f are, and then I modify that data. 0x18 to 0x1b is where the sample rate data is. And then 0x1c to 0x1f, that's the bytes per second, which is directly related to each other. 16-bit, you got a times 2. If it's 24-bit, it's a times 3. It's basically that. And of course, the number of channels is another multiplier. So that's how you determine the bytes per second. In my case, it's almost always a 2.
So when you get a song, you listen to it at true speed, 100% normal speed at first, or do you start?
No, I'm forced to have 100% speed from the game. There's no way around that. Sort of a time machine or the such. But in order for if I am to listen to when I just get the song on my computer, what I usually do is I do focus a little on the slower end of the speed because they seem to have preference towards slower speeds. I'm not sure exactly on the full range, but anywhere from 65 to about 85% true speed, sometimes as much as 90, is usually where I do my initial tests for seeing how it is. It also depends on the song. If a song's got a lot of bass, then it's kind of pointless going too slow because human hearing is only limited at 20 hertz at the low end. And of course, if there's a lot of bass, sometimes I also go on the fast end too because it amplifies the bass and makes it a lot more audible.
And
the reverse happens when the case for the the reverse happens in the case for high-pitched sounds, where in that case slowing them down makes them often better. But there's the whistling sounds, however, those kinds of songs I never bother with.
I think when we later when we're filming you doing stuff on your computer, we'll film you doing tinkering around with the speed of a song.
Yeah, I can record that. I have a program that can record it. I can show you too if you want. Seeing it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, my system boots up real fast. See, it's already booted up. That's how fast this thing is.
So it immediately goes to your music when it starts?
Yep, I've actually added that to my startup. Yep. Of course, I need to fix this again. Where's the straight? Here it is. No, that's not it. Hold on, this will be a bit. This needs to get fixed. find the straight. Here it is. Find the other end of it. This is basically like padding in a sense.
What do you use that for?
Get in there. Okay, that's back to normal. Yeah. Sheesh. Didn't realize this one had 56,000 on it already. This one's got 50,000 plus other variants.
And these are all the songs that you've recorded?
That and older, lower quality variants that I've got. Like at the very top, thanks in part to 42 day, or was that the one, the 42? Or was it 46? Yeah, thanks to a 42-day streak, this song right here has accumulated 57,000 plays in Winamp alone ever since I've began using it. But this is an old version of it. I have another high quality variant of it in here somewhere, but of course it does take me some time to find it. Yeah, right here. And this variant, much higher quality, has 4,500 total plays. So yeah, that one just in Winamp alone's got almost 62,000, or yes, almost 62,000 plays.
And you want to show us how you actually manipulate the speed of songs?
Well, like, for example, this song here, Out Where the Lake Is. Okay, what I usually do is I go start, XVI32, which is my hex editor. Wait for that to load. Click on this twice because there's a bug with the program, if you notice that small window initially. Open, and then I find the file that I want to update the speed with. Let's see, where is it? Okay, this file right here. And then I look for where adder hex is. When I click up here, I make sure this is 1.8. So, tools, and code number, and then speed divided by 2, actually, which, because its true speed is 50,000 hertz instead of your standard 44.1 kilohertz. But, just for an example, let's say I want, what's a good one for this one? I'll take 68% true speed, which means I need 34,000 for the sample rate. Okay, this bit of data, you might notice that it's 1C now. Well, this bit of data right here, out to here, that is the bytes per second. So, in this case, actually, we need to reference this number here to find out what the multiplier is. So, 34,000 times 2 is very easy to do, 68. And that means it's basically 68% true speed. But one thing you might notice, long int, 4 bytes, overwrite at current address. Of course, address is spelled wrong here because there's a D missing. And whenever that's done, I see that it's got 20 right here, which means that's good to go. And it must also land on this multiplier. Then of course I go save when I'm done, make sure it's on 20, file, new, and then I go in here and test it. That's all there is to it.
Let's see. What else is there to do?
Oh, my MP3 player too.
Okay. You want to talk about it? Show us your MP3 player? Like, tell us about it. Like,
Okay.
What is it, like what size is it?
Well, I'll just start from basically here.
Okay.
Every time when I go to bed, or when I'm otherwise that, see that? Ow. Stupid itch. That's the problem with an itch. Every time when I go to bed, I have my MP3 player going. This is the Creative Zen. It's a 16 gigabyte model. I just wanted to make sure I can get enough speeds and stuff on here for all the various songs, but that's a different routine from what I do for changing speeds on my computer. But either way, well, the power button is right here. Slide, wait a little bit, and it'll come on. Gotta wait. Tick tock, tick tock. Clock's a ticking. Isn't waiting fun? Any moment now. Okay, and this is what my MP3 players otherwise like. I basically have a background image of Platform Masters on here. It's just an extra motivation boost for it. What I have here is Lake Keverin, which is World 5 in Platform Masters. That'll otherwise be covered later, but either way. Now, what I have on here, well, of course my design formats I'm highly considering changing it, but what I have right now is, this number here is the speed. 096000, if you otherwise really can't read that too well. What that means is it's 96% true speed. Slightly slower, but there is quite a noticeable difference actually in that. This is the progress bar through in which how much progress I've made on it. This is how much time is elapsed since it started, and this is how much time remains to the end. And this is the name of the song following that. Okay, and this of course is track repeat, which I almost always use. But what if I want to change songs? That's easy enough to do. Let's see. I usually press this button right here to go back. I select music. I go down to playlists like this. And then I got all my various songs listed here, or at least those that I've processed for this mess. So let's see, what's a good song? A lot of Final Fantasy stuff, because those have high compatibility. Let's see, where is a good one? Here's a good one. This song I listen to a lot. This is the one with 1 to 1.3 million total plays, Out Where the Lake Is. So, if I want to select it, all I do is press this button to select it. Now I just go scroll down the list and look at the number in the front so I can figure out what the speed is. This one's 40% true speed. This one's 40.96% true speed, and there's actually significance to that. 45, 50, and then it steps out a bit, and some odd ones in here too. Kind of like this one here, 53.33%. So, let's see. Well, this song's pretty good at this speed, so what I usually do is I press this button right here, and it starts playing. That's all there is to it. Now if I want to change speed again, since for example, let's say that's too slow, so all I do is I just press and hold this down instead of just repeatedly pressing it, and I'll take 2/3 true speed. Play that. I think that's a little too fast, so I'm going to go change the speed once more. Let's see, this one's got some significance. 64% true speed. So, one thing you might be wondering, what's the significance of that 64 and the such? Well, back in the day, well before I even had MP3 players and other such things, I actually used to use cassette tapes, your basic audio cassette tape. And, well, when I was working with those, I had a player called a Talkboy. You remember those from the Home Alone 2? Yeah, and then it's got a slow speed motion and a normal. Yeah, I actually used to do some experimenting with that. I record the song in normal speed, and then I play it back in slow speed. And if I want to go still slower, what I do is I record the slower speed onto a normal tape recorder, which records, of course, at normal speed. And then I played that slower version to an even slow-mo version, and then I can just keep doing that. And I started based on speed 5 as my original 100% in a sense. Speed 4 would be 80% based on my experiment data. 64%, which is just what you saw that I set to, yeah, that's speed 3, and it keeps stepping by 80%. There's also the upwards direction. 125% is speed 6, and then there's a rather screwy 156.25% for speed 7, and that just keeps going up. Where does the speed system originate? Zeliard. Way back when I was addicted to PC games. Zeliard was what I was crazy with at the time. and that's basically where it originated. The game defaults on speed 5 as the initial, and it goes down to 0 and up to 9. 9 is actually the highest end that it goes, which is almost a constant 60 frames per second. It's actually more like 50 or 55. But speed 0 is really slow, as in, I don't remember exactly, but it's 5 frames per second or something. It makes the game so much easier to play. But that's basically where the origin came from, except in my system I actually had negative numbers, numbers going above 9 as well.
It's one of your favorite games, isn't it?
Yeah. I wish they could play it again, but that's a DOS game. Windows XP cannot really play DOS games. Because it doesn't have DOS.
I use a Mac, and there's a program called DOSBox that you can get to run DOS games in. It's pretty cool. That's the Talkboy you were talking about that used to slow down.
Yeah. This is the Talkboy tape recorder that you might remember from Home Alone 2. However, there's really no tape in here. But if you look on the side here, there's off, on, and slow. Now, if I were to change the speeds of the songs, all I'd do is go from on to slow. If I record in slow and play back on, it's going to be 25% faster. From normal to slow is 80%, basically reciprocals of each other. And that's basically all it is. Pretty handy player, but I haven't used this in so many years that it's just collecting a lot of dust, if all this dust is any indication.
You used to use that to see how slow down you could get songs, right? Just
Yeah.
Repeatedly. What would you do again to slow down songs over and over and over again?
Well, what I would do if I wanted to slow down songs more was that, first I'd have it recorded in normal speed, and then I'd put it in slow speed with this here. Then I'd have a separate tape recorder, which I don't have around at the moment that I can see. Then I would have that one record that slow motion version by essentially having the speaker right next to the microphone. Not good quality, but still it works. And I take the tape that was just recorded, I rewind it, then I pop that in here and do a switcheroo. And this one plays that slower version, now in an even slower form, which is 64% true speed. And that pretty much goes from there. And I just repeat that process again and again for how many more speeds I want to do. Now in reverse, the process is a little different. I record from this thing on slow, and then I put it in a normal tape recorder, and which will end up playing it at 25% faster speed. Then this thing records that faster speed in slow, which makes it even faster yet. 56.25% faster to be exact, compared to the normal. Oh my, that's where all those tapes went. Yeah. Lots and lots of cassette tapes. You want a close-up of all this?
Yeah.
Try to dig down to the center some, so that way you can see just how deep these things go. Man, my, how many layers are there?
Are these all tapes you recorded on?
Yes, way back in the day I was using the Talkboy. MP3 players have since taken over.
Oh, these are your Talkboy tapes.
Well, they used to be used with that, but got a nice close up here. I can't. You want to tilt the camera down more so you can see better? Jurassic Park, another very hard game, especially with Grant. That one I've never been able to do, but the Raptor have been able to complete this game a few times. But boy, is it hard. But at least there's that museum one, or it's that last level in there. That one's got some good music. What was that sound? Oh. You can put it in the trash if it's empty. The recycling center won't take it. Then I got lots and lots of circles. Bubsy 3D. Often called one of the worst games of all, but it's actually pretty entertaining to me because it wants a few things, actually. Sure, you can't get the extreme speeds, but there's actually a glitch with a fan where you can get up so high you can actually fall for 7 seconds straight. Yeah, it's probably grabbed your attention. And on top of that, in the first 2 levels, the second level especially where it got 500 hours on it, the first one was 250 or something, you can actually climb around on all the mountains and stuff. That's a lot of fun doing that. There's actually a mystery that I'm still trying to figure out how I can actually do it on this particular game in the first level. There's a central area in the first level that's high up. I've never been able to figure out a way to actually get over there. I have a feeling it's possible, but I just haven't been able to figure it out yet. Tomba 2. I remember renting this and getting to the, what is that place called? Kujara Ranch, and I was on the peak. But from that point onward, I was never able to figure out what you were supposed to do. I don't remember ever getting to the Donglin Forest on the very first time I rented this game. But I've since now beat it 4 times over, and it's actually pretty easy once you get to know what you're supposed to do. This is a driver, and don't count. Driver, abandoned, question mark, abandoned, or non-functional. Horrible program, Norton, oh boy. Of course, these are probably in the wrong cases. Yeah, Skull Monkeys. Skull Monkeys is probably one of the most challenging platformer games that I've ever completed. It's a fun game, but the music isn't really all that good. Any songs that have lyrics, I quickly lose interest in. But at least there are some good ones. It starts off easy enough, and I quickly rack up like 40 lives by the time I get to Elevated Structure of Terror, if I remember the name, but it's vaguely recalled. Spyro 2, also known as Spyro Rip... I'll open the case so you can see it right through the crack. Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage. This game, this is actually the first time I've ever had contact with a game developer. How did that happen? Well, out of nowhere, I've discovered the double jump bug in this game. That bug makes this game so much fun that I've literally logged 800 hours on this game. 800, all because of one little bug. That adds so much replay value to this game. I actually have a YouTube video with over 300,000 views, which is among my highest of all, with that, in which, well, I show a lot of the things that you can do with double jump. You can get onto hills, you can avoid paying money bags, which is really annoying in a way, and do a lot of things like that. It's just so much fun doing that. I wish more games had some bugs like that you can exploit. Hidden, of course, though, but... Jumping Flash. Ever wonder what those clouds up above really look like so close? Well, they actually start glitching out. In this game, unlike the second, you really normally don't get as high. However, you can use the same trick in the second to get up as high. It's harder to exploit, but it is possible. And what a view it is from the high top on World 1-1. Think of that round circular stage, right? You know how that's that hexadecagon, a 16-sided polygon. Well, now think of that filling only 1/4 of the width of the screen, looking straight down. That's how high you really get. And boy, is that high. I'll just use the disc. Mega Man Legends. When I first rented this game, I couldn't really... I got stuck on a particular boss where the lake is. I don't remember the name of it, but it starts with a J if I remember. I was never able to defeat that boss on the first time I played this game. So, well, when I came back to it again, yeah, I had a little more trouble, but this time I was actually able to defeat it, and things really got so much better. This game almost holds the record for the best story of them all. Second place for the best story of them all. I've actually played this game 6 times through. thanks to that really good story it's got. The only problem with it, it's short. It's the only problem. Let's see, those are junk. Those are already covered. This should get deleted here because I'm just shuffling things. Final Fantasy Chronicles. I got this mostly because I wanted to see what this Chrono Trigger was all about. But I also wanted to see the Final Fantasy forum and see what differences there were in the two versions. There isn't all that much of a difference. But even then, I still power level like you would not believe. Chrono Trigger, I did not like that game as far as the gameplay go. It's just too limiting. When I encountered Nizbel, I think the name of it was, I got a battle that was going on for so long. I thought I otherwise just had to quit and reload or just all out stop my progress. And that was when I was power leveled clear out to like level 60 or something, or 40. Yeah, it was 40 when I first encountered it, which is way above what you'd normally be. I think it'd probably be like 20 or something by then. But even then, that did not help much, except for the HP. That at least helped. We'll just discard it there at least. This game is got dull music. The gameplay just really isn't all that good, but I played it one time ago, got to that Dolette mission thing, but I lost interest in the story and the gameplay since. I think I did get level 100 by then, because after all I'm an extreme power leveler. But many state of not doing that. But hey, even with all that, this game is just so easy, it's just amazing. It was like there's no challenge to it, even at level 100, when enemies level up with you as well, which does have its effect. But even then, this game is almost effortless. Final Fantasy IX. Oh, this game is a champion when it comes to music. The one's particular song holds two unique records in a way. The battle music, when you just go out wandering around on the world map, you encounter a battle, you get that battle music. Well, now imagine listening to it for, get this, 42 consecutive days. Oh yes, that's my record. Now think of it another case. How about 107 days on the same source? Yeah, I had my MP3 player playing it for so long. The song on here holds the highest compatibility spike ever recorded. Nothing has really come all that close ever since. Final Fantasy VII. This game has the best story of all the Final Fantasy games. And, just again, power leveling, yeah, I know. But even then, Disc 1, I'm level 99. I've never been past Disc 1 without someone on level 99, despite 4.5 plays. And a half? Well, I was trying to do that chocobo breeding thing that they got. Really nice feature, too, by the way. Except I couldn't find that chocobo lyre material, and I had pretty much no choice but to start a new game. And this game also holds the record in Final Fantasy II as well. What is the record? 1.4 billion gil. It's the most gil I've ever seen in any Final Fantasy game. Period. And I actually get gil so fast in this game, it's amazing. Final Fantasy Anthology. I got this game simply because it had Final Fantasy VI on it. And that was a game that those two friends at Late River and that one house fire event in that Thamasa, I think the name of the town was. Those two events is what spurred me to remember this game, because I had to ask on it to remember what the name of the game even was. And from there, that's when I first played Final Fantasy VI. And when I played it, it was so easy, I just couldn't believe it. And yes, power leveling like you would not believe. Level 99 on the first world for 2 characters. Yeah, 2 of them. So I literally had access to Meteor and Ultima, thanks to that. Back up. That's otherwise it there. That otherwise concludes all these then. Nope. So otherwise it then.
Alright.
I don't see anything else. There's probably some other, there's games already in the systems that I could probably cover. But I'm starting to get hungry. Yeah, that one's already covered. Hopefully the window won't cause problems. I'll try to get it out of the way if possible. Having loved the Genesis version of Bubsy, I wanted to see what the SNES version was all about, since I was seeing that there's so many good comments about it and that everyone was thinking it was better. Well, sure, the instruments are better, yes, they're better quality, but the notation is worse. Desert Zone on this version is downright horrible. It's down in the negative territory. It's all thanks to one instrument, whistling. Boy, does that so irritating. Every time I play that level 8 or something, which is my top favorite level in the game, I literally turn the volume down so much that it's almost like it's muted. But at least this game is almost identical to the Genesis version with a few differences here and there, and I've been able to identify them right off the bat from when I first played this, and I even have a video on YouTube of what my experiences were in the first. And I had to identify the differences in real quick. 3600 hours does have its effects. Vector Man 2. There's this one mini game on here that I enjoy just so much that it's just amazing. Okay, what is that mini game? It's called Orbot Orbit. What's so special about it? Ever wonder how much time you can actually get on the game clock? Have you ever seen what happens when you go past 99 minutes and 59 seconds? I probably got your attention. Yeah, it takes about 3-4 hours to accomplish, but hey, I've done it, and it's actually pretty easy to do, especially on lame difficulty. But hey, that's what I love about this game. The gameplay is not bad, though. This one's much better than the first Vector Man. What's in here? Nope. In here? Final Fantasy, the original. Nope, I already covered that one. Guess that's it then for that.
Okay.
Nope, not those. Those are going in the cell bin anyway.
You getting hungry, you said?
Yeah, I'm starting to get noticeably hungry. Of course, this thing's been all...
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's easily fixed. Straighten it out, put some pressure on it, and there you have it. That's how that gets fixed. But I'm getting hungry, and there's probably a few problems though.
Which are?
I need to get out there with the microwave, which means I have to move the table a lot, and that's going to interfere.
Oh, because of the
Fuzzies, yes.
Is there any way they could get them locked outside?
Yeah, they'd have to be locked outside.
Just for a bit so we could film this thing?
Yeah, except there's 3 stages to my eating process. You recording or not?
Yeah, I am.
Oh. Well, I don't remember exactly how many there are, but just for a generalization, let's see, there's... First I have to get it out of the freezer. That's pretty obvious because it's a frozen food. Makes sense. And the second thing is I move all the cheese toward the center, so that way when I'm cooking it, it doesn't overflow and such, so that helps there and allows me to cook it longer without it getting all over the microwave and baking in. Makes logical sense in a way. Third thing is degreasing. Yeah, I do a lot of degreasing. That cuts the fat down, but one thing I would love to do, get some laboratory test analysis just to see what I'm actually soaking up. That would be really interesting to know. And of course, after the degreasing comes eating, with some occasional degreasing here and there. That's basically what my eating routine is. And anytime I'm eating, I'm watching TV. Muting ads whenever they come on. Almost always muting ads. Sometimes I do go through a whole ad session without muting, but the odds are pretty bad. About 1 in every 150 ad sessions, I think I go without ever muting. It's really low. Why do I mute ads? Easy. What's the point of car insurance when I have no car? What's the point of, let's see, trying to think of something that's common. What's the point of life insurance when something like someone as young as me is gonna really don't make much sense? And see, I'll come up with a third example. What's the point of music downloads when I get all my music from music download stores and things like that when I get all my music from my video games that I play? Kinda don't make sense. And one thing that's strangely absent, video games ads. Where are they? And every time I do see them, it's for an M-rated game or something that's extremely violent. Definitely not my kind. And if it's also for current generation systems. So video game ads even don't have any use for me. Okay, that's it.